welcome to No Movies in Hell. I'm Chris Geiger.
I'm LaClaw Scott, and today we are reviewing Anatomy of a Fall. I had to think about that for a second. You know what's interesting is I know you have said to me, you've seen the trailer for this movie. And I'm like, okay. And then I saw this movie, and I don't think I saw the trailer for it. I think I've heard, and I've seen lots of movies. Obviously, we see a lot of movies. And, it's a festival winner.
Right.
But somehow I have never seen the trailer for this movie.
That's hard to believe, but I do believe you.
So when I'm watching this film, and I'm like, I've never seen, I don't know what's happening here. It's a bunch of snow. There's people. There's a dog. So I saw this going in blind, not knowing anything about this movie, which was a delight to know that. Obviously, this is not a film that's joyful whatsoever, but very interesting. It was. I saw the context with which I saw this film was on a weekend night, the last showing of all movies, so it was 10 p.m., which probably is not the best time to see this film. I think this is very much a Sunday afternoon film and not a late night film because of how quiet it is, and it requires a lot of attention. I think that's how I will preface going into this, to seeing this film. What about you, Chris?
I had seen the trailer many times, which is why I assumed you had seen the trailer at least once. It's right up my alley, right? It's drama, it's crime, it's a little bit of a law, a show. It's foreign, so it checks a lot of my boxes going in, and it won the Palme d'Or. So
okay,
yeah, looked good going in. I thought it was great. I really liked it a lot. The acting was so good. The kid in it was great. I mean, I thought everyone in it was great, but the kid is so good. And the dog is really good. Although Dax watched to the end to see if there was a thing that said no animals were harmed during this movie, and it didn't say that.
Oh no.
So
oh gosh. So
I was
he was
they at least made a dog throw up in this movie, so I don't know that if they said that, I would believe that. Or I would think that the special effects were much better because it does seem like that dog threw up. But yeah, I really like this movie a lot. And I can see why it won the Palme d'Or. I also feel like sometimes when you say, oh, it won the Palme d'Or, then I think, oh, well, so did Titane, which was an interesting movie and high production value. But I'm not sure that I would call it I don't know that if I watched all the movies at Cannes that year, I would have picked that one to be the winner. Interesting. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that since you haven't seen it.
Wow, you really like this film.
I did. I mean, 30 is a perfect score, but this was pretty high. And the only reason I think it doesn't get a 30 is because it's a drama that takes place in current in real life, so it's not not current real life, but in modern times. So the costumes are just regular clothes, and the makeup isn't that elaborate, right? It's just a normal person's makeup. So it doesn't get points for any of that. But I thought it was really, I would recommend this to anyone. I thought the story was really good. I liked the soundtrack. I thought the kid playing the piano, and also the fact that song when he's doing when she's doing the interview was such a key part of the plot. I thought the soundtrack was integral to the storyline and also really.
It was going to be a slow burn for me. I thought that I would walk away and think about it, but I think it was very simple. Not to spoil much, but I think all the evidence was there from the beginning. like I thought there was going to be like more clue, like, oh, I missed this or I missed that, almost like the Kenneth Branagh Hercule type of like drama mystery. But it seems like everything was clearly there. It was like you had kind of like a no nonsense woman, French guy, and their son, and things happened, and because of a huge life event happened, a lot of things weren't buttoned up, and it kind of changed the trajectory of both of their lives. Now, I feel like more of the story would have been interesting had they gone down the road of the husband not like having these ideas that he never got off the ground, and then the wife taking them on in a life of its own would have been actually really cool to see. But instead, we're given a glimpse of kind of a couple of fights or arguments with which he's resentful of the fact of her career. And then she's kind of like, well, if you don't like it, then do something about it. So it's very much like, I don't know, it's not playing the victim and then like the person who's like, well, just take control of your life. It's very much like, well, it is what it is, and this is what happened, but we still don't know how he died. Was it suicide? Probably not, or they ruled it out as not. Could have been an accident. And they go through these scenarios with like the forensic scientists and these folks, and then she's being this like, I think is she German or she's from Belgium? She's being tried in she's being tried in like France. And like the whole process is this like thing, and how it's just interesting. I like the way that it was done in that way of like, if this happens in a different country that's not, your native place to be, or this is how this type of thing goes. The prosecution is really in your face, and they're asking these very, very direct questions. Her friend is her lawyer. There's a lot of these layers, but I just felt like there was no aha moment or like nothing that would make me go, oh, the decision, like this is false or whatever. But what was interesting, I don't know, when you saw it in the beginning of the film, when before the title card, there was a screen that said, did she do it.com? And I'm like, what? Like, as if this were something to actively solve. So in thinking about it at the end, I was just kind of like, well, I don't think she did it. There's nothing like aha about this. It was very much like she was interrogated, they brought out all the evidence, and that's it.
Right. I agree. I thought the did she do it.com was just to make you like question the whole time if it was possible. But the evidence that they presented makes me feel like she did not.
I think like that was kind of messed up to be like, did she do it? Like,
I didn't go to the website, but I imagine that if I had, it's just like one page that pops up that says no.
That's like not fair. It was like very much like she was just cut and dry type of person, and yes, there were certain complexities, but like the way that the husband was portrayed, even in audio, was very much like he just was very resentful of someone who like did really well after this like tragic thing that happened. And there's only so much that one could do for someone who someone who doubts themselves, you know what I mean? But maybe, I don't know. That's what I took out of that.
I don't know. What really struck me was when, spoiler alert, when the recording, when it was shown that he records their conversations that they have in their everyday lives without telling her.
Yeah.
And not only does he record them as if he's going to use them for his creative process, but he transcribes them and sends them to someone else.
Yeah, what his his book agent?
His agent, yeah.
Or then was like, yeah, there's not like he still didn't feel like that was compelling enough content to create something with, or like to have him give him direction on what he should do. So yeah.
Yeah. But just like the fact that you would just record your spouse having everyday conversations with you, not say anything to them to let them know they're being recorded, and then transcribe that information and send it out to other people. Like, that is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she could have helped him out with a workshop on like, this is what I did, to make a best-selling book. And yeah, that was, I feel like maybe it's lost in translation thing, and that like kind of like it, looking at all the evidence, I was like, no, this man, like, no.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, it maybe it is a cultural difference, but that's a pretty big deal, I think.
Yeah, this movie was just, I was just like, so what's the problem? This was the first movie I was just like, wow, all these like accolades, like, what's the problem here? Is very, plain and simple, but maybe I'm missing something. And I don't know, maybe it's just a cultural thing of like, I feel like we have a lot of courtroom dramas in American, television every week, like probably every day at this point in syndication, where there are cases kind of like this. And maybe it's, I just thought maybe this is just like a cultural thing. I just really had to sit on this and be like, I don't get, like, am I being insensitive, or it just didn't feel like anything here was like something to question? I don't know. How about you?
It was taking basically how, like, I think her speech in the courtroom where she talks about, like, after the psychologist is like, oh, well, he told me that he, felt like you were keeping him from doing, he was resentful of you. You were keeping him from progressing, that he didn't have the ability to write or the time to write because you were doing whatever you wanted to do, and he had to take care of your son, and that potentially that there was all this pent up anger, and that would have led to this explosive argument in which she could have killed him. So I think the context of like that just kind of showing like how, if you pick apart a relationship like a marriage where you're with each other for so much time and you have lots of interactions, but you just grab a few of them, and those are the ones that get examined under a microscope because this tragic thing has happened, like, then any of us could be convicted of murder.
Yep.
So that's what I took away from it. Like, oh my God, like literally every relationship you have that isn't like perfectly wonderful all the time, you could be like accused of murdering that person. So there you go.
Oh man, I really have to watch myself when I, go to the bodega or something and I'm just like, hey, I just want a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
And how like the little boy, like what he must have been going through, right? Because when he realized that he was wrong, and then he was like, oh my God, like if I'm not remembering this right, maybe my mom did kill my dad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's when he was like, I have to be alone. I need to do this experiment. Like, I need to work through it in my own head.
And it still didn't work because he turned on the television and they were talking about the case on the evening news. And I was just like, well, the court appointed person that was supposed to protect him clearly did not, by having him like turn literally like, oh, I need time to myself. And then he turns on the television and they start talking about the case.
Right. I know. But again, that might be a cultural thing too.
Okay, so if you're on jury duty, right, you're completely isolated. If you're chosen for grand jury, you cannot, like, you're sequestered. You cannot.
Right.
You're just amongst your jurors, right? And I would have thought that would have been the case for like this person who's supposed to oversee like this kid and make sure he's not exposed to any external stuff.
Right. Also, I felt like in apparently in French courts, you can be much snarkier than you can like our American courtroom drama is like, oh, I guess it's okay to just lie. Like you can just say that out loud.
I thought that the prosecuting attorney, I think that, or the equivalent he was great.
Yeah. The acting was so good in this. Like I thought her attorney was really good too, where he's like, this is an unbelievable thing, but somehow I believe that you didn't do it. Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was really good. I
think no courtroom dramas for me.
Well, I know you're not a big fan of dramas in general. Like it's not something that you seek out. Although you say that, but you do watch a lot of them. So
like what?
I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I know like I watch a lot of them and we talk about most of them. So I feel like you do watch a lot of them.
That's true. That's true. I just thought that this was I thought it was going to be a murder mystery because of the website, and I was disappointed.
Here's something that I'm not plugging, but I'm just going to ask you, are you going to watch Marvels?
Yeah, that's on the list. It's almost like doing homework.
Okay, I might not watch that one.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like when we've seen a bunch of Marvel films.
We have.
And I feel like this is part of the new phase. And I just had this conversation earlier today about how it's going to be so hard. It's harder to see these films because now the actors can't go out and actively promote. And I feel like I should see this film because I want to support the actors in it. But it's getting very hard to keep up with a lot of storylines, to understand what's happening at the end. Is there another universe that's going to implode or explode? Who are we harming in these things? Who's upset? Who's mad? And kind of wish that, there is a point of differentiation between a lot of these films. I will see this film. We probably will not review it, but that's fine.
We might. I mean, I'm torn. I do want to. It's a female-led, big budget movie. I want to support it from that perspective. The woman who plays like the villain, I saw her on Broadway when she was in Betrayal with Tom. Oh, really? Yeah, she's very good. I want to support it. I just think it looks terrible. And after Ant-Man and Wasp, like the last Ant-Man, like that was so bad.
I think you were at a point of diminishing returns, and I really hope that, I mean, I really like the actors and actresses that are in this film, but I just, hopefully it's a turning point where we're getting more, right? We're getting more interesting storylines. We're getting more interesting character development.
All right, fingers crossed. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.